Welcome. You are now listening to the Better Agent Brand Podcast, where we help the modern real estate agent say goodbye to outdated marketing tactics and instead grow an authentic and magnetic personal brand that actually connects. And with that said, let's get into today's show. I'm here with a very cool agent that I'm excited to share a little bit more of her story. Ashley. Is it Ashley? We go Ash or Ashley?
Ashley, but I go by Ash in the real estate world.
I'm looking at the social account right now. Impressed. Kleinsorge.
Yes.
Right? Okay. I'm happy you're here today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Welcome to the, I don't know if this is even a podcast yet, or I know it's a conversation. Man, let's start with a little bit about your journey. I think it's important. This whole social account, this whole conversation, this podcast is dedicated to the agents, helping them, identify their personal brand, be engaged with it, enjoy it, and then take it into social media and use it to actually build up their authority, build up their presence, build up their trust. So I thought there was things that you're doing that I thought the audience could benefit from, the other agents. So that's why I had you on here today.
Thank you.
So let's start with a little bit so that they can relate to what, your situation. Like, where did you come from? How did you get into real estate? And then what I just found out 5 minutes ago, how did you get to the Newport Beach area?
Yeah.
It's been a little bit of a journey, right?
So it has been a journey.
Yep.
I started in real estate 2 years ago. And since then, I've pivoted teams. I've stuck with the same brokerage, but, ultimately before I made the decision to get into real estate, it was really just what I want for my life and aligning the values with that. So freedom, obviously financially, and then just with my time. And then being able to travel the world. You can't do that when you have a limited amount of vacation days. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to being your own boss. And without running a company, real estate is on a smaller scale of being your own CEO. But nonetheless, you still are. And I found beauty in that. And I, on top of just the houses and everything in Orange County, I mean, you can't really, they're
Can't
like
beat that.
nothing like in the world. So it's amazing. But aligning my values with what I truly wanted in life. And then real estate kind of just aligned with all of that. So jumped into it. I'm not from here. I'm from Texas, Dallas
me either.
area.
So we share that. I'm from Boston.
Yeah. And I mean, entering into such a cutthroat industry, regardless of the location you're at, but then also trying to do it in Orange County, which is arguably, one of the most aggressive counties in America, besides New York and the Hamptons.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate yourself? Which is where social media came in, because you really have to, establish that personal brand. But going into real estate, I really never thought that it was going to be so social media focused.
Wow.
I really thought I was signing up to genuinely help people buy and sell houses.
Right. Without the social media marketing part.
Totally. Yeah. And it wasn't really my jam before. I was very shy and, reserved when it came to being on camera or even just posting on Instagram and any social media platform. But I'm like the type that rolls with the punches. So once I realized that to be successful in this industry, in this county, it takes a lot of putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
I was like, let's go. Let's do it.
And that's great. Did you come from sales before or anything like that? I mean, you're super personable.
Well, thank you.
I don't know. I don't think you got that in 2 years doing real estate. I think you had it before. Was that harped in some other profession or?
Before I did real estate, I worked for my dad's company and I helped businesses looking to expand, find facilities. So kind of on the commercial side of real estate, but I wasn't actually a broker or dealing with the transaction portion of it.
Yep.
More so just finding the states that aligned with their needs. But nonetheless, I was still, talking to people daily, getting on the phone, learning something that I wasn't familiar with, which led into, a bunch of skills that you need to be successful in residential real estate.
What was that position called? Was it
Just a project manager.
Don't take just a for
Sorry, it was a project manager.
Yeah, project manager. And then so that was in Dallas, Texas.
Yes.
And how'd the jump go? That's a kind of a big jump.
Living in Dallas, I wanted to get my license there for residential real estate, and I was taking the courses, everything, and then moved out to Orange County, wanted a change of scenery, wanted to be just in a different location. And then I realized, I kind of put it this way. So you want to be a CEO in a company, or you want to move up the ladder and you start at a manager position or a sales position. And it's the whole reason you want to continue climbing that ladder is to get to that position of ultimately making more money and a better lifestyle and a better life for yourself. And it's like, if you're going to be a realtor, why not be a realtor in
Right.
a county that you can be most successful doing that, specific job.
Yes. And the devil's advocate perspective of that is, but all your original network is in the older place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So was that something you had factored in, or was it just the upside? Because then you're also jumping in with the sharks, right?
Yes.
The big dogs out here. So how did that balance? And then we'll move on to the other stuff. But that's interesting, that pivot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I kind of roll with the punches, but it's also like I jump and I build a ladder on the way down. So I saw the opportunity and I jumped, and whether or not it was going to work out, just want to try it. I mean, like establishing yourself in such a highly sought after community where people are always going to be moving around internationally and within the States. I mean, it's just a promising area that's never going to fail in real estate. Yeah. There's other counties that will go quiet for years.
True.
Orange County's always hot.
Yep.
So.
And where is it like? Did you like look at a map and zone in on OC? There was somebody here, like a friend, like, girl, you got to come over here. Like, how'd this happen?
No, so my parents actually moved here when they were my age, so around 26 years old, and they lived here for a couple of years. My dad worked in Fashion Island. And so they were familiar with the area, told me about it. We would come out here on vacation, so I was always familiar, and then met my fiance while I was here. So there was multiple factors driving me towards Orange County in general.
Yeah.
And then obviously what I wanted to do with my career was just the cherry on top.
Yes. Okay. But when you came out here, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they had kind of like put the bug in, like, you should probably go over there.
Yeah.
Like,
multiple factors led into.
Got it.
Yeah.
And okay, that's great. And then I guess, I think you said it already, but how long you've been a full-time agent? How did you actually get into this? You talked about how you got into that, kind of how you got into the industry, but I guess to the agent part of the industry. Yeah,
so 2 years as a full-time agent, even though the first 6 months I was working 2 jobs, still working for my dad's job just because of, real estate. You never know.
Yeah.
But luckily after the sales that I've done, I felt comfortable enough to want to make that jump that I've been speaking of. I mean,
the sale was in Dallas first, right?
No, so these were all in Orange County. So I kind of let myself grow a little bit here, realized that I had a couple clients at least, make some money, put it in my savings, and then, didn't have to make that jump feeling like I wasn't going to be able to afford my life, really. But very few part-time agents make it in Orange County, honestly. It's almost like a mandatory thing to go full-time because, there's tens of thousands of agents, and looking on the MLS, only, upwards of 3,000 properties for sale right now. So the pie, there's not much left for everybody. Like, you have to fight for it.
Absolutely. And that's why you were like, if I can do what I need to do to go full time, that's going to be the first thing that eliminates more than half that just are kind of like, I got my license.
Exactly.
I kind of do it
Typically
out
the
here.
people that know friends or family that want to sell, and that's
really it.
Yeah.
You wanted more. I love that. Anybody who watches knows me, which a lot of people who are watching this, who have worked with me, consulted with me, hired my agency journey, they know how big personal branding is to me. I guess the first starting point is, what does personal brand mean to you? I ask every guest on here. And why is it important to invest in as an agent? Because obviously, as new as you are, you're already doing it. So, what does it actually mean? Like, what is that definition to you, and what does it mean as an agent?
I believe that, building a personal brand differentiates you from everybody else in the market, especially in such a saturated market like Orange County. You want to work with people that align with your personality, what you like. Having a personal brand really just helps you figure out what your ideal client is.
Right.
Because if you're pushing out what's authentic to you, then those people will naturally be drawn to you. For me especially, coming here not knowing anybody and then having to establish myself as this, realtor that's working Orange County from Texas. Nobody knows me.
Yeah.
No one has any idea who I am. I can't be an invisible agent that just sits on the sidelines.
Right. You don't even have the network out here to do that.
Don't even have anybody that could, it is up to me completely to have one person know my name, to have 2 people know my name. So building that personal brand through social media was my only outlet. And thankfully we have that now, because I couldn't imagine moving out here, 30 years ago.
You'd be knocking doors straight up.
Yeah. And I still do that. But
Yeah.
like social media
not that
helps.
you shouldn't, but absolutely, yeah.
I mean, it's just like really, truly getting your name out there. For me, that's the biggest thing that, I've utilized it for. But then also just, making yourself unique. There's so many agents out there. People can be picky. And typically when people work with you, it's because they believe that, they trust you. You have credibility. They like what you do. They think you can get along because when you work a transaction with someone, you literally you enter a relationship with them until closing.
For that timing. Yeah. At least.
And it's a intimate and dedicated relationship that you're talking multiple hours a day, every single day for 30 days, if that's like, the escrow. And you got to make sure that that's someone you can get along with.
Yeah.
And that you enjoy and that you trust, most importantly.
So it sounds like for you, it's different. What I heard was personal brand. Mm-hmm. I try to make it real simple for the agents. Personal brand, agent differentiation.
Yeah.
Like why you versus somebody else.
Right.
Is that just showing up on social media, or is it what else goes into differentiating, I would say? What, in your opinion?
So I learned that I used to be so caught up on being like a perfectionist about what I pushed out, but like people can't relate with perfection. It's more so like authenticity that they can relate to.
Yeah.
Pushing out content that I feel like my clients would care about, and my target audience is first-time home buyers at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, that will pivot as I grow. Mm-hmm. But I realize that that's who I get along with, people around my age. I like to be very in-depth with how I treat clients. I like to hold their hand because I know that they appreciate that in the long run. So like first-time home buyers was my bread and butter. Yep. So I kind of went full force into that. And then, my personal brand now is kind of evolving. I have another Instagram account that talks about like starter homes in Orange County.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. Establishing yourself in a space that you are confident you could succeed in.
Yeah.
And that's your personal brand. So like mine is Ashley. I'm a happy-go-lucky person that likes to help younger people buy homes in Orange County, which is seemingly impossible, but I've made it happen for people. So
right. I was gonna say, is that even possible? Is it possible? Can you buy your first time home buyer? Yeah. Like I love the positioning. I love the focus. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of times when consulting agents, they feel like, especially the newer ones, it's like, I don't have a target buyer persona. Mm-hmm. I don't have a target buyer seller. I don't know because I'm not. And it's like, but that's the thing. You're not gonna know until you pick one,
right,
and work on it. It's like it's almost to me like saying like, I don't know which trend to wear in fashion, so I'll just walk around naked. It's like that's not, you have to put on something though, right?
Yeah.
And in that you'll be like, oh, I kind of like the flare pants or the biker jacket. I do this more, or nah, it's not for me. And
but
that's okay
also,
too,
It's also like being realistic with yourself. So the person that owns the $10 million house on the water, are they going to really hire the agent that's from Texas, that's not from here and only been an agent for 2 years?
Yeah.
If you think, you could get lucky or have enough skill to get that, but is that realistic for my target audience? No. Absolutely not. Yep. So you got to have that, come to Jesus moment where you're like, who actually would hire me consistently? Yes. Because that's the goal.
And when they hire you to try to make that first time home buyer transaction, are you having to look, I'm just curious, are they having to look in, they're probably not coming with $5 million cash ready to go. I don't know, maybe they are, but are you having to look in like, are you having to help them come to Jesus moment? Like, we're gonna have to go a little further out.
Yeah,
you're not gonna be on Newport Beach. Yeah, right on the is that right?
Oh okay. Yeah, totally. Like my most recent client, I helped them get their first house. It's a condo, a 2-bedroom condo, but that still comes with a $600,000 price tag, like 1,000 square feet. So they wanted the same square footage, same bedroom, bathrooms in Newport Beach, but that costs close to like 1.5.
Yeah,
so,
almost double. Yeah.
Like let's have a moment. Your first time home buyers, you buy this property, you establish yourself there, you sell in a couple years, and then you get closer and closer to your goal. So, buying your house in Orange County, you typically have to start on the outskirts of it and then move in as you grow.
And that's
with
a part
your
of your positioning, right? I love that. I love that. I do. And I love how much you've thought. Was somebody helping you think? This is positioning to me, right? And I don't think enough. I really encourage more agents to think about this.
Right.
Rather than just jumping to, I'm going to make 4 reels a day, which I'm happy they're making reels. But I'm also like, that's great. And before that, we should be thinking and identifying this kind of sometimes not sexy work, right? It's
Totally.
sexy to get a photographer to come get you, walking down the beach in a blazer.
Yeah.
And that's cool, right? That's like fun to do per se.
Yeah.
But this work that you're talking about, this strategy work of, okay, but who's realistically going to pick me? And then like, okay, like how's that going to work? Because that's real positioning work.
Right.
So,
and it's also like a long-term game. Like all my first-time home buyers right now in 10 years will be, not first-time home buyers buying more expensive properties. And then it just grows on itself.
Yeah.
And
having that diligence or patience to be like, okay, like you said, I'm probably not going to knock on the $10 million door right now and him be like, yeah, you
Totally,
look cool. Let's do it. I'll fire everybody I've used before. Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Exactly.
You're like, no, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or as much sense. It could happen.
Well,
but
and like in Orange County, you can throw a rock in any room and hit 20 realtors. Like everybody and their mom is a realtor. So, I mean, it really takes like, you gotta work towards that like authoritative position, like some agents are, right now.
And that's kind of one of the things I'm glad you said authoritative positioning, because one of the things I applaud you for is that, and we'll get into how, but you don't seem phased at all in getting into video content creation. Not only, what I call handheld or on your own. Hey, it's Ash. I want to talk today about boom, but also working with videographers, working with professional film people, and you've only been in the game 2 years. That's why I wouldn't even have been surprised if you were like, oh, yep, I was a theater major. Oh, yep, I was heavy in sales, or, I had been doing some type of face-to-face, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like worked at a resort or something. I would like, yeah, it makes sense. Because you come across so effortlessly doing so.
Yeah.
What is that correlation you see between video and building authority? And why does that even matter? I think people hear these words and they're like, yeah, I'd rather, for example, I'll just show the house off.
Right.
Me building authority, yeah, man. They just want to see the house.
Yeah.
I don't think that's correct, but what do you think about that?
It honestly, like, our videographer, Josh, he always told us it's a spaghetti method. So the spaghetti method is you kind of do a bunch of different things and you throw the spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. And you push out, great content and it sticks with one certain target market, but then you push out other content and you're getting so many replies, people like feeling like they're connected to you. And it's like the videos on the iPhone, it's more of like an immediate personal connection. Absolutely. And then the professional videos are establishing the brand of Coastal Estate Group and the professionalism. So it's like, here's Coastal Estate Group and here's what we bring to the table. But then like you can pick from Coastal Estate Group which personality you like. Yeah. Is it Ben, Ashley, or Carrie? Because we all bring something different. And then like the iPhone videos and like what we create on our own is kind of how we each separately get our personalities into the mix. And ultimately, the success of the teams page brings more eyes to it. But then we allow people to kind of choose, who would you want to work with? Who do you most relate with? And just putting yourself on camera, even if it is on iPhone. I just think it helps people just see who you are, which is very important when they have so many options. Absolutely. Do you think that you went into, I understand that someone might have, there was some resources that were like, okay, we will get a film team in front of you. I get that part. But do you think you went in with the lens of like, I am going to build authority? Or, some people just going like, I don't know, I look cute on camera. No. You get what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't suggest it, but I think that, did you go in with that intentionality to be like, I would like to build my authority? Hell
Are you saying these words to yourself?
Yes. I was just like, this will bring me to the next level. Right. When I'm submerged in social media and I see all these agents doing these professional content, of course I'm jealous. I'm like, that's what I want. Right. I want to see, like, I want people to see me in that light. Because that's all I want to be in my industry is professional. I mean, you want to be a top agent, you got to act like it. Right. So in your mind, even whatever transactions, you've done the last couple of years, in your mind, you see yourself as a luxury agent going forward, top agent? That's why you're not scared to hop on the quality film level video? Yeah. Because in your mind, you're like, I'm preparing to be here. I'm manifesting the luxury level. Yeah. But it's more than manifesting because you're actually on the thing. Is that right? Yeah. No, that's the end goal. It's definitely the luxury market, which is very few people break into it in Orange County. So
right. But I like
Stay tuned.
I like the we're on the right path,
Yeah.
So speaking of the building the brand, there's the personal brand, you're the Ash brand, and then there's also the team brand. You touched on it a little bit. How difficult is it to build the personal brand when you're also part of a team as well, or not difficult at all? Or I've seen this work out a lot of ways working
I can
with
give
teams
you
and
a
agents.
perfect example, and hopefully this doesn't rub anyone the wrong way. But the team that I started on with Compass, the team brand or the team name was first name, last name of the team lead. Now I'm on a team where it's, Coastal Estate Group. So it's not really tied to one individual, which makes it easier to want to like align myself with that brand. And with the other one where it was, her first name, last name team, it's like I'm constantly pushing out her name, her everything. And I'm like, how do I break away from this? Which is why I broke away from it. And I love the fact, my team even told me like, that's why we started Coastal Estate Group, is because you don't have to feel like it's only ours. It's yours too.
Yes.
Like obviously we all have values that align. That's why we all work on a team together. We all like what we bring to the table. So it's just like, now it's a lot easier, to give you an answer there is when I think that's a lot of team leads don't realize they put their agents in like a kind of a hole when they put their names on it, because I don't really want to be pushing out someone else's name. If I'm if I'm running the transactions, if I'm doing this, that, putting in the hard work, why would I want, their name to overpower all of that hard work, I guess.
It's almost like the difference between working for, Phil Knight or working for Nike.
Right. Yeah.
And it works out sometimes, like you can work for Tom Ford, right? And I guess you're at that point, the name is synonymous with some level of, well, it's a product, so it's different. That is different because with a service, it's literally that person's name and the face that they have versus a product of a name where it's like, Tory Burch, Tom Ford. But you don't actually think of the human's face first. You think of the product that's associated.
Totally.
So I'm just playing this out in my mind of why this makes you feel this way.
Yeah.
Because it seems like you're more inspired under the team name. That's what it comes down
Definitely.
to, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that makes it easier to build the team brand.
Yeah, it makes it easier because like once you build the team brand, you want to work with Coastal Estate Group, like I mentioned earlier, but then you have 3 people that all have different personalities, all have been in the industry for a different amount of years. And it's like, who do you want to work with? Like young buyers want to work, might want to work with me or Ben. And then, luxury clients want to work with Carrie, who's been a broker and attorney for, 20 plus years. So we all bring something different. And I think just like each working on our personal brand plus team brand all at once, just elevates us all like as a whole.
And I think what it sounds like is making, and I advise this exactly what's happening, what you're doing with the teams. When I'm with my team clients, the agent team clients, the real estate team clients, I'm like, you don't have to all do the same thing. Like it can be under one brand, but each of you could take a separate persona and dig in. And once that light bulb goes off, it's like, oh my God, it's like the whole world opens up. Right. And the analogy I often use, because I love Nike as a brand, is I'm like, there's Nike football, there's Nike basketball, there's Nike skateboarding. Right. It's not like the one guy is just like, or one creative director is like, I'm going to do all these, or better yet, everybody there is like, we're going to work on it all at the same time. Teams, they all make up the brand, but they're all split into segments and focus on them. And the same can be done with a real estate brand. That's what I'm saying. And that's what you guys are doing. Yeah. To some degree. You know, like for Simon Bar, cool. You're over here and you can lock in. Right. And then I forgot the guy's name on the other agent on the team. Yeah. Sorry, Ben. We haven't met you yet. Once I meet you, I'll apologize in person.
He'll be on here next.
But he's got his on, but he has his lane. And you guys are still building this. Yeah. The umbrella brand is what I called it. Yes. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And for newer agents that are on a team, if you don't feel like it's aligning with what you want to, push out there, like what your personality is, what your values are, if you just feel like you're in a hole because of your team, just pivot. Just move teams. Like, business is business at the end of the day. Yep. Of course, you can stay cordial and stay friends, but like make sure you're doing what's best for you and that makes you want to grow, because from moving teams, my career has skyrocketed, honestly. Wow. Yeah.
Wow. A lot of the times, the content strategy and the operation of social media is hidden behind the curtains. What does that look like for you and yourself and your team? Like, because I can see, I thought it was you doing it, then you easily were like, no, there's a team, like I have help.
Yeah, totally. No,
I think agents need to hear that. Yeah. Because it can especially because people don't know, the way I found you is I was sitting in Boston in my office and I started typing in Newport Beach agent and you were like right there. And before I even clicked on your account, there was like in the explore page was like multiple different videos, like high quality videos of you talking. I thought you were like running the place. Only to find out like, oh, she just positioned herself really well.
Yeah.
And she's just on the come up, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah. What is that? What's going on behind the scenes that agents,
I can give you a perfect example, like when it comes to creating the content and what goes into it.
Or even strategy, managing, someone behind, you know, production of content, distribution, who's posting this stuff, like what's happening behind there.
Yeah.
That could almost make someone feel like, yeah, she just was giving it. It just was like, yeah, why even look at her? Like she doesn't get what I get. I don't want people to feel that way.
No, I was in a unique position when I started with Coastal Estate Group. They brought me on as that hybrid role to also do all of their marketing. But the beauty of it was they let me really take lead on how our marketing looked. They gave me, you know, a general idea, vibe that they wanted to go for. And they ended up liking what I put together. So now I'm the sole creator, poster, scheduler of all of our social content on every single platform.
Yep.
But I'm definitely not the only one that thinks of the ideas. I mean, that is such a collaborative effort. So before our film days, like we're having our film day tomorrow all day. And yesterday we all met at a coffee shop and we just started talking to each other, like spitting ideas.
Damn.
And, you know, we're the type of team, we're like, no, that's terrible. Like, you're not going to say that. Like, pivot it this way. And some of our best ideas truly just come from getting in person and just like spitting ideas at each other.
Yeah, brainstorming.
And literally we have a brainstorming session.
With like being able to be vulnerable and not feel like someone's going to be like, that's stupid, shut up. Or if they do, it's at least in a positive way. Like,
right.
I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not like you're dumb.
Totally.
So shut up. Don't ever say that again. Yeah.
Yeah. And like our most viral video that we've had brought to the table 30 minutes before we shot the video.
On like a film day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just like getting in person and talking about it with your team. It's valuable for sure.
Love it. How hard was it to get over the hump of getting on camera at all? Like, you know, it doesn't seem like it was at all. Was it hard for you?
It's still hard.
And what advice would you give to other agents? For real?
Just
Seriously.
do it. Just do it. I mean, like,
this was getting on like this or
no,
with the setup,
like right here.
know?
I mean, like honestly, on my way here, I had to like play my hype up music. I was like, it's gonna go great. Like I'm always still nervous.
Especially because you haven't even met me yet.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah. Hopefully this is going as good as you thought it was.
It's great.
Right,
yeah, but it's like that's the thing that you miss out on if you're constantly having this barrier up between, like, the camera should be really a bridge to you in the community versus a barrier that you're scared of. And so I had to really learn my lesson because I was missing out on opportunities. And, you know, it's like, is it scary? Hell yeah, it's scary. But like, honestly, when you're done with it, you feel so good and you're like, okay, I grew a little.
Yeah.
Like, really, what's more valuable than that? What else would I be doing right now? Like sitting at home answering emails or growing as an individual by just literally sitting down and, you know, if it goes terrible, it goes terrible. If it goes great, awesome. Like just doing it is the most important thing. Whether
it's professional or there's is there a different, it's the same level of anxiety either way? No, you know what I mean?
No,
like,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not the same level of anxiety. I say like posting it has the same level of anxiety, like whether I'm posting the iPhone video or the professional video.
Real. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that taking the content, obviously you can sit there on your iPhone and re-record it a million times, but this keeps you on your toes and it teaches you a different growing lesson than an iPhone would.
Yes.
You should have seen me like 2 months ago when I first got on like a big set like this. I couldn't get one word out.
Pivot into that. What went into the thinking and decision to even create professional or video content on a social video on a professional level in the first place?
I will not take credit for that. That was definitely Ben and Carrie's idea. They brought it to the table and basically said like, here's what we want to do because we want to establish professionalism in all aspects. So we need to do it now because if we don't, someone else is. And they're going to get the listing or they're going to get the buyer or, you know, it's just pushing out quality content no matter like where you're at with your team's page or like your Instagram.
Yeah.
And they felt it was valuable right now, especially like, you know, video
Smart
for
team.
realtors. Yeah.
And you kind of rode the wave and were like, cool, and embraced it. Yeah. I love that. How did you go about, how do you like, okay, so just the social media. It sounds like you're a part of that social media strategy.
Yes.
You're not hiring. You guys haven't outsourced a team to do this
No.
yet, at least. And right now it's you guys, and then probably it sounds like some help on the content production end.
Yes.
You're writing the caption and you're posting. It's you. It's really you. For the most part right now. Is that right?
Yes. Everything except for like the actual like filming from our videographer, and he does the edits and all of that. But
probably photography too. You guys doing professional photography sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes.
But mostly the video.
Mostly video.
Okay. That was like the priority in the content
Correct.
lineup. Okay.
Right.
So how do you, in your mind, go about the difference between balancing authority content, like the video, authority, tips, education, versus lifestyle content versus, say, a home tour?
So goes back to the spaghetti method. Like, you have to really like keep doing different things to figure out what people like. People love home tours, especially in Orange County. The house is beautiful. And then people also we've started to dive more into like controversial things. So like, we're posting 5 tips for first time home buyers versus should you buy in Orange County or should you cross the state line? And that video had, done exponentially better than, so it's kind of
not
just
generic. It's a little less generic. Yeah.
So we have our templates, we have our like calendar that we kind of rotate, but it's also spontaneous. Like whatever we feel people want in the moment, like we just try and push it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's really no other way to do it. Like you can stick to a schedule, but that doesn't mean like people are going to be attracted to it.
So you guys are getting a little more dicey now as you've been like grown up your confidence.
Correct.
And you're feeling like a little more like, all right, let's talk about something a little more bolder. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a natural evolution.
Like tomorrow I'll be talking about why everyone's moving from California to Texas and why I chose the opposite direction. Because I feel like, you know what I mean? It's just topics that are, I guess, a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Versus the common things that you see.
I love that. Some agents feel they shouldn't be investing into professional video until they have this like big followership, which we talked about off air before. You have the higher quality video content, even though, you have an average following right now. I guess beyond the resources, which is a big part of it, what you're thinking in this here. I think you kind of talked about it already, is that like this is where you see yourself, right?
Yeah. I think it's more just aligning yourself with like what you aspire to be in all aspects. And, investing in the video, I was grateful to have the team resources so that I didn't have to invest in it myself because it's expensive. And bless Ben and Carrie for wanting to like include me on that. That's why I love my team. Because they didn't have to do that. Like,
you think it's worth it? Do you think would you advise if another team lead was like, hey, I saw you, Coastal Group, it may not be you, but like, should we do it? It probably starts with, should we invest into social media in general? Should we invest in social media marketing in general?
Oh, yeah.
Then subset, should we be doing professional video?
So since we started posting our professional videos about 2 months ago, our following, our engagement, everything on Instagram, looking at our insights has increased over 400%.
Wow.
So, you could sit there and door knock and send mailers all day, and that's great. You should be doing that,
Sure.
But it's also adding the extra level of there's so many people out there. How do you reach them in social media? It's the digital age. We all know it. So it's like you don't need to fight it. Just embrace it.
not to mention, even when you door knock, let's just say they're not home, you leave something there.
Right.
Let's just say they're even generally interested. Once they see that, they go right back here looking.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be like, let me look at this person up.
Yes.
And that social credibility or the profiles that have been built, the presence, that's going to be something that's at least, if nothing else, is going to be like the version of a brochure, a business card, a new version, right? Like, let me see this. At least a quick scroll. Now, maybe it's more. Maybe it's now you're clicking into video. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
But yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
If any younger agents watching this that's just curious how it's going to work out for them, don't try and, project it. Just go full force into it. Just try your best and, put your best foot forward in everything you do, whether it be getting in front of a camera that you're nervous about doing or door knocking or cold calling. People think that real estate's glamorous, but it's a hell of a lot of hard work.
It is.
And if you're not willing to do that, then, there's lots of other jobs out there. But just do it.
Like I said, that whole strategy positioning of, okay, I'm gonna work with first-time home buyers here. Did you ever write this stuff down? Like, have you ever actually done brand identity messaging work? Even the most basic, maybe you didn't hire a professional to help you do it, but did you do this? And a subset, did the team do this?
Yes. So we have about like 100 shared notes that we all work like on together. And it's, you know, at first it started with, like we were all trying to figure out whose target market, like who we would all work best with, because we want to work like a well-oiled machine, you know. There's someone on the team that can work with everybody, no matter your price point, personality, or age. I mean, there's someone for you.
Yep.
And yes, we definitely like narrowed that down when we first all started together.
Which would be the target, the persona,
yes,
correct? What about things like core value, the story of the group? Like, what's this group even mean besides the word? Has this stuff been, it's okay if not, I'm just curious, like how far,
right? Because
you're obviously invested into the content and the production of the content.
Right.
But then I'm wondering that back work, like that foundational, I call it soil work, like building a garden, was that done?
Yes. So a lot of it was, you know, when I came on the team, they kind of let me know, like, here's what we want to do. We want referral partners across the country. Like, we're big on referrals, like just knowing people in every market, obviously luxury. And we don't want to push anything out that's boring, to be honest. Like, there's so much boring content in the real estate industry. It's like, if you're not going to be posting something unique, just work on it a little bit and or just don't. I mean, and we all kind of felt the same way about that. So that's where they've let my creativity run a little bit wild, which they've loved because I bring something a little bit different.
I would call it a spirit of innovation. A spirit of like test and be a little edgy. There was a spirit of edginess that you all kind of agreed on.
We love to test boundaries.
And it sounds like you spoke about it even if you never wrote it down, or maybe you did write it down in the notepad too. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, but we have a whiteboard and everything.
Okay. It was on there somewhere.
I mean, it's just, it's definitely a lot of figuring it out with each other because you're all going to be working together as a team. So it needs to be all in agreeing that, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
last question. If you had to one word to sum up the idea of, well, it was a personal brand, but then you're on a team brand. So let's start with just brand overall, because you're on a team and a personal.
Yeah.
If you had this one word to sum up, what would it be?
I would say distinction. So just like separating yourself. I was going to say authenticity, but that's so overdone. So like, you know, distinction just means you got to realize, I feel like people forget that this isn't like a fashion show or like a friendly thing. It's like, it's your business. Yeah. So like, how do you make yourself different and, you know, separate yourself from every other person doing what you're doing?
Love it. I agree. I agree. Because you can be authentic, but if that authenticity is the same, you could it could be genuine, but if you're still in the same outfit as everybody else, genuinely, it's still not standing out. It is great to be authentic. Right. But then the strategy is, well, maybe I'm doing the jean jacket like everybody else, but maybe my twist is I put a patch. I'm just using a simple example. Right, You get what I'm saying? I think that's what you're saying, distinction. Absolutely. That when that person with the patch is different than everybody else who has the same jean jacket on. Absolutely. Right? Yep. Love that. Let's tell them whether you can find you. First of all, for any buyers or sellers in this area, that especially first-time home buyers, where can they find you? Socials. My Instagram is @Ash_Kleinsorge. I'd spell it out, but you spell it out. Yeah, they gotta find. We'll put the tag underneath as well. Put the tag on there. It's a long last name. And then I have a website, the NewportBeachRealtor.com or AshleyKleinsorge.com or CoastalEstateGroup.com. Okay, that's the team brand, right? Yeah. Okay. Just in case you're looking for something luxury, Carrie's your go-to. There you go. Boom. Yeah. All right. Anything else? No. Thank you for having me. Thank you for coming on. Till next time. Yes. Till next time. All right.